So welcome to this week's Question Time, MTD's Question Time. Now we'll be streaming this live on YouTube and on Facebook. This is your opportunity to question our guests. Now today, I'm joined by Ken Baldwin, who's the Sales Director of Open Mind Technologies UK. We're going to be talking about CAD/CAM. We've got lots of topics coming up in the show. We're pleased that you can join us, and as I say, ask us questions as we go. So we'll start today, Ken, by welcoming you to MTD's Question Time. Hopefully, you can just give us a very brief overview of yourself, your position at Open Mind UK, and what Open Mind provides to UK and global industry.
Sure, thanks for having me, Paul. So yeah, my name's Ken Baldwin. I'm the Sales Director at Open Mind Technologies in the UK. So my role is I sell direct to customers. So I have a sales area that I look after, and I also manage the sales team. So I'm responsible for bringing in new business and looking after the existing customer base. What Open Mind do is we have one product, which is Hypermill, and that covers all areas of 2D, 3D, 5-axis turning, CNC machining. It's a CAM system that really covers the whole spectrum.
And I mean, that's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be talking about some of your new products, one of which is virtual machine, which we've done some work on with you previously as well. But we'll also talk about the other areas in more detail of what your products provide and where and what part of industries that they service. But to start with, Ken, let's talk about current business at the moment. You're obviously working from home, and I know that it's been part of Open Mind's policy recently, along with a lot of companies, of course. How are things?
Things are very good for us. So as you say, we've been working at home now we're now in our 8th week. So all of our team in the UK, which encompasses salespeople, application engineers, admin. But it was very easy for us to do because over the years we've invested in cloud-based technology. So really, half our workforce was already mobile. So very quickly we could move things there. So we're all still very, very busy. So we've had we've had some new customers come to us already during this lockdown, which is very encouraging. And we are able to run. Really, we are running quite effectively as we are. All of our support services are open. We're looking after our customers. We're providing training and consultations all online. So it really is. It's working out very well.
Lots of buzzes around webinars at the moment, and I can see a few of these popping up on my social media feeds from yourselves. Are they getting plenty of interaction?
Yeah, we're quite overwhelmed with how well they've gone. If when we started, we had a plan to do webinars already this year before this situation happened, and we would have hoped to get maybe 30-40 people on a webinar. And every webinar we've done so far, we've had over 100 people attend. A few registered and unfortunately couldn't come, but the nice thing is that the webinar is recorded, so anyone can go back and watch that webinar at their own leisure.
And one of the aspects that we speak about, or we're going to speak about today, Ken, is you often ask a lot of your customers, or you like people to come to you with a part and say, look, here's a part, can you solve a problem for me? What would some of those problems be that people that are listening to this should maybe recognize and reach out to Open Mind?
So a lot of our new business is won when they're struggling with a particular component or a particular feature, and it might be that they somehow knife and fork it, but then they're getting a lot more of this type of work, and that's where Hypermill really does come into its own. We can handle some of the most complex geometry, and it's not just being able to do it; it's being able to do it cost effectively. So you don't need to spend days programming complex features. Hypermill is very, very good at doing a lot for you without as much user interaction.
So you can almost envisage a business that's growing, that's taking on new opportunities from customers, getting a little bit maybe more of a complicated part with areas that need machining. They're sitting down programming this thing, and they're thinking, "Hang on, this is taking days for me to do this. I need an answer to this to be able to do it much quicker," which in turn would make them more competitive in their pricing going forward, wouldn't it?
Exactly that. So if you can minimize, you can reduce the amount of time you're spending programming your part, then obviously you can get the part onto the machine a lot sooner, and then you can deliver that part a lot sooner. But I would also say, encourage people though, that don't just look at Hypermill as something that's high end. It's not for you yet. You know, Hypermill is very much also an entry level product. You know, it's very modular, so you can start off with a particular version, and you can always upgrade it. You know, as your business grows and as your requirements change.
And it would also be apparent that it's not just milling, is it? It's turning as well. Some people look at Hypermill and think, you know, 3-axis, 5-axis machining, but as we can see on the screen now, you're very much involved in turning too, and savings there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, a lot of people don't realise that we've been doing turning for more than 10 years now. So it really is a core part of our product. And we're now doing sort of things in turning that might be a little bit different. So the high performance turning, 3-axis turning, or some people might call it B-axis turning, and they're used in the right application. There's some real benefits to really looking at this type of technology.
Okay, so we've got questions coming in, Ken. I'm going to ask you this one, and it's actually quite apt because it's about what we're going to talk about. In fact, let's start with that. Tell us about virtual machine for those that haven't heard about this or seen this so far.
So virtual machine is a new element to Hypermill, and this is NC based simulation. So this is this is new in Hypermill. It's been around for a few years, but we're really starting to get some traction with it. Now, so obviously NC simulation is not new. It's been around for a long time. But what virtual machine is able to do, it's actually doing more than NC simulation. So it's actually able to, there's a part of a virtual machine called NC Optimizer. And NC Optimizer is then able to make further decisions for you automatically with no user interaction based on what that particular machine tool is able to do. So that really, so a lot of problems that you see, so you might have a gantry style machine where you've got a collision issue on one side of the machine because it's not symmetrical, and then there isn't on the other. Virtual machine is able to automatically select which solution you're going to do. It could be that you've got just a simple application like some 2D toolpaths, just go machine around a boss, and then when you get to the fourth one, you have a collision issue just because again part of the spindle isn't symmetrical. And a virtual machine is then automatically able to modify the position of your C-axis to put it into a collision-free position. And that really is, and the key thing is you just don't have to do anything. It just does it for you because it knows what that machine can do.
I'm sure it's highly reliable, but I'm obviously going to have to ask you that question. And another question that's come in on YouTube is from Mike Morris, asking about this and whether it's available for all machines, in fact, all 5-axis machines and Mazak Integrexes. Where does where it fits start and where does where it fits stop? So
right now, where it fits, you can use it on any type of machine. We've now started adding the Mazatrol and the Fanuc based PLCs. So we started off with Heidenhain Siemens. So where it stops right now, but it's not where it's going to stop in the future, is we're not supporting turning yet with that, but that will come very, very, very soon. It's obviously if you're just doing milling on Intergrex, then no problem at all.
There must be a lot of work gone into the background in getting all the different models of machines, or I suppose we could come to you with a model of machine and you could go, if we've not developed it for that yet, we can develop it for it. Is that part of the
that's right? Well? Yeah, so there might be somewhere we haven't developed that PLC for that machine, or that controller type yet, but if we need to develop it, we will develop it. It's on a demand basis.
Biggest benefits to it, Ken, for users of your software: anti-collision, simulating processes, and improving tool paths and making the components faster. Would they be amongst some of them?
Yeah, I mean, certainly anti-collision. So Hypermill has had collision avoidance, for ever since we started. So, and our current simulation technology works really, really well. So this is not a case that our customers have been having collisions. That's not the case. But there are certain machine types where it enables us to do more. So like the example where we're just turning that C-axis, we're able to, because we know more about the detail of what that machine can do. So when you're going from one toolpath to another, we can now put in a far more optimal movement to actually get from one position to the other, rather than retract into a home position and then the table rotates and then it comes back in. And it's done without the user interaction. So what that means, there was a particular example we had for a customer where there was a production job running, and again, very, very happy customer, really, loves Hypermill, had it for more than 10 years. But by using the optimizer, this was able to shave, we estimate, around 10% out of that job. And it's a production job. So this is going to run till next year. So 10% is enormous, and the payback on it was around about a month.
Right. Okay. We'll come back onto some return on investment shortly. What I'm thinking here, though, is, and I mentioned this to you on a previous piece we did for our Mac 2020 tribute show. If you had an inferior machine that wasn't quite as quick, and you were looking to invest in a newer machine to reduce your cycle times a bit further, are we suggesting, though, by integrating software like this, you may make those savings via software as opposed to hardware?
Definitely. I mean, I would say, is that machine running at its absolute limit at the moment? And if it's not running at its limit, you should be getting it running at its limit. So, there are, in one instance, machine tools are all the same in that they just do what they're told. They're executing instructions, whether they're good instructions or bad instructions. So you could have the best machine on the marketplace, but if you're feeding it bad instructions, you're not getting the return on that investment that you should be. So so Hypermill, yeah, we can, it's our strap line on our website. We push machining to the limit, and we believe that, we know that, and we can demonstrate that.
If people are interested in virtual machine, you can of course contact Ken and the guys at OpenMind via their website. Ken, is there some kind of demonstration you can do for customers if they're interested? Something you can do virtually for them?
Yeah, we can. So we can do an online meeting where we can demonstrate to you. If there's a particular component that you're interested in, what kind of savings we can offer. Get in contact with us, and we can arrange a virtual meeting. And it's very, very easy to do for us.
Now, I want to ask you now a little bit about your customer base and the breadth of your offering. We have touched on it throughout the program earlier on, but in terms of the companies that you service in industry, how small are they? How large are they? What areas do they tend to be manufacturing parts for? Or is it a really good cross section of all manufacturing type businesses?
For us, it's a really good cross section. So I've worked with, I do work with startups, people who are just starting up, they're buying their first machine tool. And I've got customers who have got in excess of 40 licenses. So really, Hypermill is a good fit for everybody, and as I said earlier, you can invest at a much lower price point, and you can then grow the product as your business grows. In terms of industries, it's, and good cross section. We've got, where we are located in Bicester, we've got a lot of people, doing work in the motorsport sector, but then equally medical, oil and gas, aerospace, in different areas of the country.
Because it might be fair of me to say that smaller companies that are branching into buying new machines for the first time and starting on this journey of precision engineering, they may not consider you because they might think you're out of their league, mightn't they? Is this sometimes a barrier to entry that you find?
I think that there's a perception that we're out of their league, but what I would encourage people to say is come to us and try us. I think you'd be quite surprised in terms of in getting started with Hypermill. The price point is probably a lot lower than you think. We can offer flexible payment terms, finance. So we really Hypermill is very affordable.
Okay, we've had another question coming on YouTube from Paddy Dane. Have you seen much change in the CAD/CAM software market recently? With relatively low cost solutions coming to market.
I wouldn't say massively. I mean, certainly I'm aware that there's a lot of products out there that are their price point is it is significantly lower, if hardly anything at all. And I would say there are a lot of people using these tools, and they're producing parts and they're making money. So and it's so it's working well for them. But again, with Hypermill, okay, we can tackle those areas. But if your business changes and the parts get more complex, what you might find is you hit the ceiling of those products, and then you have to then, and it's not just about the cost. It's your time in learning that system. So if you've invested 2 to 3 months in learning a system, and you then you're forced to change because you can't, you've got more complex parts, you have to start again with your learning. And there is a cost to that. Whereas Hypermill, because if we're doing 2D, some simple 3D, our interface looks the same. So whatever you've learned, you don't throw it out the window. If you move into turning, if you move into 5-axis, it's just enhancing on that learning that you've already done.
Yeah, and that would lead me perfectly into this return on investment argument, because when we're talking about capital goods, machine tool suppliers look at return on investment. Engineers ask, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, what's the program? For CAM solutions like yourselves, you must come up against this sales argument. People saying, okay, well, when is it going to pay back? We've talked about the fact that obviously you can improve programming time. You'll get the parts off the machine faster. It will make your business more agile. It will make you be able to cost different jobs in different ways. Is there an estimate you would give someone on, and I know that the features and the modules that you invest in change, but is there an estimate you'd give someone as to how quickly they could expect this to be paid for?
I think it does vary. Depends on the sort of work you're doing. If maybe your business is changing, you're going into different areas where maybe the work is more profitable, or it might be that you're just looking at a direct replacement. But a payback within a year is definitely achievable, and it has happened for a lot of our customers. So yeah, it's not a long period of time, and if you start looking at monthly payments, finance options, you can really spread this investment over a long period of time.
Do you think, Ken, with automation playing such a big part, and especially with what's been going on recently around the world, everybody's a little bit nervous about potentially investing, but when they do, they're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to invest more in automation, because if we encounter issues like this or any other issues in the future, I can keep my machine running. How does your software fit with automation? Where's the relationship between those two?
Automated CAM programming, let's say it would be the dream where it just does it for you. But there's a lot of decisions that need to be made by a person. How am I going to hold it? What am I going to hold it in? Which tools am I going to use? Which tool holder? But what Hypermill has, so there's automation that the user can write themselves, because I would expect that probably every single part they do, there's probably an element of there is a bit of repeatability, maybe on different types of parts. So if you can automate that, and that might be 20%, 30%. If you can then, and it might be just you have to answer a question, then a Hypermill then does a few other things for you. That's 30% that you don't have to do every single time. So that means, again, you can program the parts a lot quicker. Maybe you don't need to, you don't have to have as many people programming. You can get work on some machines, and you can just get more work through. So automation in Hypermill is definitely an area that we are encouraging our customers to look at. But I do find that when you talk, a lot of people think automation with CAM program is 100%. And 100%, yeah, it's the dream, but probably not possible right now. So really, you want to look at automating smaller steps and then just looking at growing them.
And when you're supplying new seats to customers and to existing customers, are you finding that a lot of them, I mean, in automation in general, are going down this path? And most of the places you go into to talk to about your product, also companies that have recognised that the future in manufacturing here in the UK involves automation to some level.
Definitely so. I mean, the automation in programming, parts do vary, but often parts, they have similar features. So yeah, people are interested in automation, and they can see that is the way that it is going. Definitely.
And some of the strategies that you use, Ken, we've seen overlays on the screen of the turning. We see some of the 5-axis machining that you do, or the one particularly on the Grob machine that I can see, where the metal removal is something else. Where did all these strategies come from, and how do you push machining to the limits? Do you push it too far and then drop back a bit to the how does the strategies come about?
We have an innovations team at our headquarter in Germany, and it's there. They're looking at new methods. What needs to be solved, and it's generally if you ask customers what do you actually think needs to be better, sometimes they don't know. So our innovations team, so the example was the innovation of the conical barrel cutter, which came from Open Mind. That was one of our team. They were fascinated by people doing you might call it a raster tool path with a ball mill. That takes so long. There must be a better way. So it's done by a lot of testing. So we spend time on machine tools testing ideas, working, finding out what's the best method. And once we have a method, it's then up to our development team to put that into the software and make it actually something that people can use. And what we want is it to be as easy to use as possible.
How many machines out there do you think there are in the UK that aren't being pushed to their limit?
Oh, many, I would say.
The majority?
If they're not Hypermill customers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I also want to talk to you, Ken, about support, because this is a big part for you guys at Open Mind, and it is a massive part for anybody engaging or embracing in CAD/CAM technology, whether it be for the first time or ongoing with new modules. How do you go about supporting your customers, and what do you believe makes you a little bit different to others?
So our support, you can phone us. You can phone us as many times as you like, as long as you have a maintenance contract. You can phone us. We don't set a time limit, and so say you get 8 hours, 10 hours of support throughout the year. So you don't have to send us an email. If you'd like to email us, you can do. So we track every case. So when you send an email in, you'll get a case number by return, and that's then on our system. And then we have a team of support engineers who then work our way through those cases. We do like to have that personal contact. So that's why we always say to people, if you've got an urgent part, we work in motorsport a lot. A lot of people are doing parts that they've got to be done today. And we're able to prioritize just by if people communicate with us. Sometimes it might be difficult to explain something over the phone. Sometimes it can be a bit of a pain to package it up in an email, but we utilize TeamViewer, where we can remotely log into their PC, have a look at what they're doing, give them a few pointers, and then they can get on their way. And it really, really works well. But I think for us, it's not just answering questions. We like to have a relationship with our customers. We like to get to know you. Hopefully you get to know us, and we like working with you, and you like working with us.
And when you take, I make this comparison, maybe a vertical machining center, there's a dozen of them or more than that, in fact, available in the marketplace. And there's little differences to one to the other, a bit faster, a bit stronger, a bit different build quality. When you compare Hypermill and Open Mind's offerings in general, where would you pitch those differences to some other CAD/CAM solutions, Ken?
I would say with Hypermill, our aim with Hypermill is to make it as easy to use as possible, but to also give you the power that you need. So it's, and that might seem, well, they don't go together, but just taking the example of programming a conical barrel tool. So it couldn't be easier. You select your tool, you select a face, and you press calculate. You don't have to put in construction geometry to cheat it, to get it to go in a particular direction. And that's real high-end functionality, but it is really simple to program. Things like selecting, CAM programs known as boundaries. So we can just select a face. We don't have to worry about selecting an edge going all around a complex surface. Just select a face. The system can then automatically extend that face, so you've got your runoff areas where a tool won't fall down. And I think those are it's those little differences that they actually mean a lot. And it's CAM program, they just want to create toolpaths. They don't want to do loads of CAD work. They don't want to be CAD experts creating complex geometry. And with Hypermill, you don't need to do that, because we're doing a lot of work in the background for you.
We've spoke about Virtual Machine, which is a new product. What else is coming to market soon, Ken, as we conclude this with Open Mind? Because there's always lots of new things. What's next?
It's really Virtual Machine isn't finished, so there's a lot more to do there. So the next part of Virtual Machine, which is available on some controllers now, is called connected machining. So you might compare this to Industry 4. So connected machining is where we can connect your CAM PC to the machine tool, and we can then read information off that machine. So we can read the tool length that you've actually got stored and what datum you're using. So often the most common reasons that you'll get a crash on machine tool is probably user error, in that the tool length is set wrong on the machine to what you programmed. So you simulate it, it looks fine, but when you run on the machine, because the tool is actually shorter, you can get a crash, and also because the operator has loaded the wrong datum. So if we can pull that information off the machine and simulate with what you've set, you'll then capture that collision before you actually get onto the machine tool. We can then also load the NC file onto the machine tool when it's safe, so keep it encrypted. And then you can actually start the machine from your CAN PC, and that might seem a bit gimmicky at the moment, but I think the way things are going, particularly now, obviously you've got a lot of people working at home, programming at home. If you can operate that machine tool remotely and you can see what's going on from your PC, you can, and that's a real live simulation. That really is proper, Industry 4, maybe Industry 4.1. Where you're connected to that machine tool, getting feedback on what it's actually doing.
It's fascinating, isn't it, where the future lies. In fact, we just had a comment from Think 5 Axis saying Hypermill makes the difficult toolpaths easier to produce. So we're not just hearing it from you, Ken, we're hearing it from Hypermill users as well. I think there's lots of things we've touched on today. I think on reflection, for me, I think the big question here is, and that's to everyone listening, that if you are if you've got challenges with components, you're looking to maybe improve the way that you get them on and off the machine in a quicker method. But there's also things like, I suppose, less tool wear and stuff like that as well, Ken, aren't there? All of these are factors in the tool paths that you create. So I would encourage you on that point, if you are looking at solutions like this, contact Open Mind Technologies UK, and Ken, I'm sure, will be able to assist you. Ken, thank you very much for joining us today on this question time. Remember, we do this every week, Monday 11 o'clock. That's been it from me today here at Question Time MTD. Ken, we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thanks, Paul.